going, guys? Today I'm going to be talking about Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, the sequel to 2011's Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Now, this time around, there's a new director, Matt Reeves. He formerly did Cloverfield, and that's really about all he had done at the time, so not a very well-known director chosen to make this movie, and I will say that this film was a vast improvement from its predecessor. Just alone, the cinematography is so freaking amazing in this film. It is such a really well shot film. It's got some really interesting close-up shots to the point where you're really questioning whether you're looking at CGI or like real animals. The fur and the moisture that's in the fur of these apes, and its cinematography is amazing. So the film picks up 10 years after the events of Rise of the Planet of the Apes. The medicine that was being used to treat the apes is not really working for the human beings. It's actually slowly killing the population off, to the point where in this film we have just a small cluster of people are gathered together in this city that has been run down and completely ruined. They barely have any electricity left. They are just running on fumes, and these apes are now in the forest, and their one chance to get electricity back is to go into the forest and run into, of course, these apes. And that might be a problem because both are on the verge of attacking one another because they just have pure hatred for one another. And we're given a lot of really good reasons why each party would be mad at each other. Obviously, we have the villain of Koba from the ape side, who's really just can't stand the human beings because they tortured him. He's got cuts all over his body. And Caesar is the guy who's kind of just the calm, collected ape there, who's trying to keep everyone calm and not start a war because he knows the casualties that will come from that. And then we have Jason Clarke's character from the human side, who's also understands it, and he's much like Caesar. He's trying to calm everyone down and make sure that no one's making any drastic decisions because there's going to be casualties, obviously, and they're just trying to live in peace. And because each side has its one guy who's always trying to do something and attack one another, of course the two are going to butt heads with one another. And eventually they do go into the forest. They're trying to figure out this electricity issue, which they get done, but of course Koba gets involved, and a couple of apes die, a couple of humans die, and of course everything gets riled up, and we start this war earlier than the title suggests. So one of the things that I really enjoyed about this film was I thought we had much stronger characters. They were more likable. We got more backstory to each character, and we really felt for it. This was a much more emotional film than the previous film. From both sides, we see actions of each character, why they do certain things. And in the previous film, it was merely just telling a story of how these apes were being treated and that the uprising was coming. That was it. This film, we dive deep into understanding why each side feels the way they do and why something like this would happen. It feels more realistic. You're kind of like in the middle ground, thinking, which side would I be on? Because you're given enough information to choose which side would you be rooting for. Despite the fact that obviously you're a human, you're probably rooting for the humans, but it's just a really, really well made film. The acting is good, of course. Andy Serkis continues to amaze with his motion capture work. Jason Clarke is really good. Gary Oldman is a great character in the film. Also, he's lost a lot of people, like with this virus that has spread. Millions and millions of people have died, so you really understand why these humans would be reacting to these apes and wanting to go after them. And you really feel for Gary Oldman's character, and you understand why he would have all this hatred for the apes. And it's a really well realized film that makes you understand why certain things are happening, instead of just having something happen and not explain anything like some other Planet of the Apes films do. So they make sure to explain everything, and sometimes that might be one of the issues with this film, that it does kind of explain a little bit too much for you. But that's really like the only negative I have, because it was a really enjoyable film. It had really tense moments. It almost felt like a thriller, and the best Planet of the Apes action film that we've gotten. I don't want to say it's the best Planet of the Apes film. I still really like the first Planet of the Apes back in 1968, but this one was right up there. I think this is the best one we've had so far. If there were any naysayers about the first movie, this one definitely ups the game, and I can't wait for War of the Planet of the Apes because Matt Reeves is going to be returning to direct that one. And so it's going to be a visually stunning looking film, and it looks like the story is going to be really good too. With that being said, I'm going to be giving Dawn of the Planet of the Apes an A. Anyone who hasn't seen this film, do please check it out. If you haven't seen any of the Planet of the Apes films, now is a good time to start watching it because War of the Planet of the Apes is coming out in a week, and it looks really good. Woody Harrelson as the villain, I think it's a good choice. If it's all about dialogue and just a good script. If they can give Woody Harrelson some really cool dialogue to make him really like intense and pretty much the Koba of the situation, that would be really amazing. I have faith in Matt Reeves to deliver yet another great Planet of the Apes film. Probably the last one, but if it's making a lot of money, it's probably not the last one. But at least the last one for Matt Reeves, more than likely, because he is actually moving on to do the next Batman film, which I am stoked, because if it's as good as Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, we're going to be getting a good Batman movie, as long as everything else goes right and the studios, again, don't interfere. So with that being said, that is my review of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. If you have any comments, thoughts, please comment your thoughts down below in the comments section, because I know a lot of people love this series and I'm just interested in hearing what other people have to say about this franchise. So any thoughts, do please comment them down below, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so down below as well, and I'll see you guys next time for more unboxings, reviews, and movie news.